So I have a little bit more energy now than I did this morning driving back. So I've been getting into black holes recently and trying to learn a little bit about space that we know of, which is a lot of unknown, a lot of hypotheses. Mathematical equations and observations because we really haven't gone too far off of Earth. We haven't even gone out of our solar system. It's like we're so limited in the cosmos. So it's like trying to figure out and understand things and matter and gases and where we came from. What is all this? One of my hypotheses or theories when it comes to black holes, I guess, is already thought of, and I'm sure the other one was too as well. But the one I was explaining on my way home, which is probably really hard to watch because of my low energy, was the big crunch. They call it the big crunch, where essentially like there's where we actually came from. Well, they think like Big Bang or whatever. We came from the Big Bang. Something happens and energy ends up going the opposite way. So like we're going. Everything seems to be going in circles. If you look at like we go around the sun. It's a circle. It seems like energy is in circles. That's what it is. So for some reason, maybe there's nothing it can push out anymore, so it just starts going the opposite way. For whatever reason, I don't know. Nobody really knows. And then everything gets sucked back into like a crunch. So everything, like just to say hypothetically, like the Big Bang, where it's a bunch of gases or whatever, and then all of a sudden, boom. But I'm wondering if we came from like one atom and something triggered, I don't know what triggered it, caused an immense amount of energy. Don't know. We don't know. And it shot everything out. That's us. We're traveling through space. Supposedly we're just like going really fast through space right now, going around the sun. So this is why they think that like we're the remnants of like the Big Bang. We're expanding. But it doesn't mean we're gonna infinitely expand. If you look at like how things are in the real world, this is what I was trying to say is there's expansion and contraction. There's order, there's chaos. There's night, there's day. There's dark, there's light. There's life, there's death. These are all very similar things. It's like the one absolute for the other absolute. One extreme to the other extreme. So, like, if we're expanding right now, we could at some point, and it could be like trillions of years from now, it reverses course, whatever the source sped us out but like it just automatically starts going the other way and sucking everything back in. And we don't know how fast it could suck everything back in. It could suck everything back in really, really rapidly, causing it's happening so rapidly, it's just condensing, and that's what they think that like some black holes are. It's just like condensed energy. But what I'm saying is when there's nothing left to suck in, when all of us, everything that we see around us, our planets, everything, all these stars, get sucked back into this like gigantic black hole, and then it starts like condensing itself, which I don't hear them talk about. Maybe that's absolutely impossible for a black hole to condense into itself into a really, really tiny microscopic atom. And then once it gets to that point where it has nothing left to condense into, it just does the opposite where it expands again. Kind of like a slow moving heartbeat. Like a trillion year heartbeat. And listening to a little bit about black holes and stuff like these physicists today, and then talking. And so something popped up on my X feed yesterday. They were talking about the Big Crunch. So it was kind of interesting that I was thinking about this, and this is like something like kind of new. The Big Crunch, the idea of what I'm talking about, where expand, contract until one just keeps expanding and contracting. Another thing I want to talk about too was when I was talking about AI going out to the edge of the universe. So if we could hypothetically get to the edge of the universe, I would assume it would just be darkness out there. So the analogy I used is like playing a video game where you get to the edge of the map, where it feels like you're still moving, but you're really going nowhere. And like Grand Theft Auto, like I'm still moving, but like I've hit the border and I can't go anywhere. I imagine that's probably what the edge of the universe would be like, where it feels like you're moving, but you're not going anywhere. And you obviously will see no light. It'll probably just be completely dark. And I've also heard them talk about us actually being in a black hole, like a massive black hole, or maybe we are just really tiny, because we are actually tiny. Maybe we're like really microscopic, and we just don't know it. Our perception is like we're regular or whatever, but maybe we're actually really tiny. Like way more than like looking through a microscope, like infinitely tiny. And we're in some type of massive black hole. That's why like when you look out in space, everything is black, and then you see like the stars lighting it up. Maybe we are in a black hole, we just don't know. That they say when you go into a black hole, there's like the event horizon or whatever, where there's basically the point of no return. And one of the physicists I was listening to, I don't know his name, he basically says like you start getting stretched, but what if you don't know you're being stretched? What if we're in it right now and we're being stretched and we really don't know? That's just like really weird to think about, like all these different things. Like if you look at like the universe, and it's all black. Well, what if one of the, I guess it's not really my hypothesis. Like I'm sure these people, that's when it comes to ideas. Like I might think of some idea, but hey, you know what? It's cool. It's cool that like I'm thinking and I'm on the same. Maybe it's not my idea. Maybe it came out first, but at least I'm on the same wavelength as some of these like astrophysicists, like some of these like really intelligent people. Like I'm coming up with different ideas and hypotheses. Not saying I'm even anywhere near on their level, but to just connect dots and put patterns that are like, it's kind of like a cool thing. And no, I'm not on any psychedelics, and no, I haven't smoked weed since April, so I am completely sober. But it makes you wonder, like what if we're going through a black hole, or right now we don't even know it, or what happens if like we eventually go through the black hole and then on the other side it's like I was thinking like a black hole sucks us in and then like it keeps like we're like, so right now we're expanding into the dark side or whatever, hypothetically or whatever. So we're still expanding. So there could be another universe on the other side that's being destroyed right now. It's coming to an end. Maybe it's not coming to an end for a while, but it could be trillions of years from now, but it's being destroyed so we can be created. I was kind of like apprehensive about the kids are walking around upstairs. It is what it is, so just gonna have to deal with that. That's real life. I don't have a I don't have the money for a damn studio, and honestly, I'm a nobody anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I don't know why people watching my videos anyway. Anyway, so it's like, um, it could be like a ping pong, like pong, like, you know, back and forth. Takes trillions or like way more, like quadrillion years for it to happen, go back and forth, or it could be happening instantly because we don't really know what time is. Like we know what time is on our sphere, like around the sun, but like time could be different somewhere else. It could be instantaneously. It could be the speed of light. We don't really know, but the other. The closer to the destruction or the end of the matter that goes to the black hole on this in a different universe, this forming our universe, it could be speeding up and going really really fast, and they don't, you know what I mean. So, and then and we could just end up going the opposite direction, and us being all destroyed, but maybe we aren't destroyed though. Maybe this is what different dimensions are, like going back and forth, you know, like different disruptions of timelines and stuff like that. Maybe the black hole doesn't destroy everything and disintegrate everything. Maybe it just stretches everything, and then when it goes back on the other side of the black hole, or whatever it comes out, it goes back to normal. It goes back to what it was. So maybe we do get stretched and we don't even know, and things are like messed with or something like that. I don't know. There's no proof of this. I'm just throwing things out there. But yeah, I think that is quite possible for there to be some massive source black hole that we don't even know of, that is so far away we can't even see it or even know it's even there, that has been responsible for like us throwing us out and possibly in the future sucking us into either a big crunch till it keeps crunching into like one single atom and then just like blowing up again, or putting us out into a different type of universe, and we're still intact, possibly. You know, we're just stretched, but we don't know we're being stretched. Things are a little bit wonky going through it, but you know, like the Mandela effect and stuff like that. Like, I definitely, you know, deja vu or something, that just different realities. But it's so crazy to think about. And this basically, that's why I wanted to make this video talking about like that. One of my black hole theories actually wasn't my theory, but I didn't copy it from anybody. Like, so I was thinking about this today actually. What's so crazy, I was actually thinking about this, and then I seen it pop up on my news feed to like kind of give me a little bit of validation for my idea, the big crunch, where everything sucks everything down to an atom. And they don't say that. I think they might say that. It sounds like it's like a pulse. Like, it sucks everything in until it condenses really. I don't know. Condenses on itself and then it blows up. They say like condenses, blows up. You know, but it's fascinating to think about, and I don't think that our reality is going to be coming to an end anytime soon. I think that, you know, even if hypothetically, like if I'm, you know, we get sucked into a black hole one day and it's like billions of years from now, people are like, well, what's the point of doing anything right now? Well, you know, if you're stuck on an island by yourself, you're gonna try to survive, right? I mean, we know that we're only alive for so long anyway. It's not like we live for billions of years. The typical age is like 77 or something like that, and it is honestly dropping. So we know we only have a certain amount of time anyway. And honestly, whatever we really create will eventually be destroyed at some point. unless it can be fossilized. But I mean, if you look at the pyramids, you look at the wear and tear on the pyramids, you see the face of the Sphinx, and they estimate it's like almost 5,000 years old. You know, you're telling me people 5,000 years ago created the pyramids and the Sphinx. You know, they created pyramids on multiple planets, on different continents where people didn't really travel that far back then. And they had these sophisticated ways of creating this stuff, and they were really primitive people, like, and they didn't have other technology. And there's actually like hieroglyphs of like, it looks like spaceships. That's why you see like the ancient aliens on the History Channel, like back in the day, that show Ancient Aliens. So it's quite interesting in trying to think about things. And like I said, like if my theories, my black hole theories or whatever, like I wasn't. Basically, I want to make this video to say that I wasn't trying to copy anybody. If somebody already came out with those theories, you know, I didn't really know. it was kind of funny how, but you know, I think I talked about the black hole theory of us being sucked through, you know, being like basically destroyed to create a new universe on the other side. So, if I was to make energy, if I was an engineer and I'm gonna try to make infinite energy, I'm gonna try to. I think that the best thing to use is a spiral. I mean, look at the hurricanes. Look at how much energy the hurricanes. So like circles, like Nikola Tesla, like he used circles for things. You know, even like this is out there. The UAPs or the classic UAPs or UFOs, they look like this. They're circles. You know, I think if you're an engineer, whatever device you're trying to use for for like massive energy, you'll want to use a circle in that type of something in this. Like, I think that Hadron Kaleidosphere, or whatever it's called, CERN. I think it's a massive circle. I think it might not be like a perfect circle, but I think it's kind of like a massive circle, goes around in a circle. So it's like, look at how things work. So like, if you want to make something that could go really, 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 really fast or have an abundance of energy, you might want to have something in there that it's like a circle. Something that uses dark energy and light energy. And it makes me wonder too, like, if we are in a black hole, what's on the other side? Like if we're going to a black hole, that's why it's all dark in space. And we come on the other side, I wonder if it's like completely light. And then, you know, it's like the opposite. Where when you look out in space, it's almost kind of like a mirror almost, where you look out on space, like say like you're looking up at stars, which would be like during the day, and seeing like, instead of, you know, when you look out at night, you see like the shining light stars at the night, but you see during the day they're black stars. I wonder if it's like the opposite on the other side. Who knows? Maybe there isn't such a thing. But it is interesting that it is dark and light. And obviously darkness is a negative energy and light is a positive energy. So I don't know, I'm not a physicist. I just try to connect dots. I try to see patterns. I look at myself as kind of like a dude. You know how I said that like I'm like a micro influencer, and I got my fingernail in the door, and I can kind of see tiny like how it is behind the curtain, to a very, 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 very small like snippet. And that's kind of how I feel when it comes to like um, Elon, where like I relate to him on different things, but this guy is like obviously like way more brilliant than me, way more smart. So like it's kind of like I'm like a fingernail of what he is. Like I'm minuscule. I'm not like, but I'm the extreme like the peasant poor man's version, like extreme, like something like that. That's why I kind of look at him a little bit on some things. I think when it comes to like, I think what it is like the thing that I relate with him is like that childlike enthusiasm and optimism and exploring and discovering and trying to figure stuff out. When his is obviously on like a massive scale compared to me, and we're obviously not the same people. And the guy's way more, but I can relate in some aspects. So I'm not comparing myself to him. I know I sound like I am, but like I guess I'm just trying to say like I relate. So, but I'm like he's like an IQ 300 and I'm like an IQ 50. That's what it's like. Like there's such a huge gap between us when it comes to intelligence and stuff like that. It's not even funny. So like I'm not saying that. Oh, I'm like Elon. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you get it. You get what I'm saying. I still feel like I have that childlike, even though it's masked, but I have walled it. Like I've walled it to the world because the world is so ugly, dark, and cold right now, and a lot of negativity. And I try to protect it. What is it? That you know when you're a kid and you get excited about new things, like I kind of have that in some things, you know, like when I first heard that my music was on Spotify, like I put my music on Spotify, I was floored. I was so excited about that. That was so cool, man. Another thing too is like I'm about to have a poster come in, and it's one of my albums, you know, and it's gonna be right here. I think that's so cool, you know. Not many people anybody can do it. Like you can make your own music and you can put it on these platforms, but I never thought, like I gave up on the music thing, you know what I mean? Like when I was a kid, I wanted to be a rock star or whatever. And I gave up on it, and I got back into it to try to use it as like a separate platform to get my message out there, because I felt like I was being censored in so much. That's why I wrote a book too. And you know, anybody can make a post. You can make a poster about anything. You can make a sticker. This is one of my LPs. You can make a sticker about anything, but it's really cool to be able to do it on your own without having it being mass produced or and it honestly takes away from like the nostalgia, not nostalgia, but like how great it is, you know. Like if to finally make it, you know, you see your own album, you know, you go to the store, you see your album. That was probably a pretty cool thing back in the day. If you came from nothing and then like you go into the record store and you see your album, then that's probably like, or like you turn on the radio and you hear your song. Like Kurt Cobain was talking about when he heard his songs on the radio for the first time, he was like floored. He was so excited. And it was probably such a cool feeling, you know, like everything he was been through to finally to have that exposure and feel like you actually accomplished something, you know. To have that's a big thing. Even if it was just like the local radio station, it's still a cool thing, man. Like, and obviously that guy's a legend. Everyone knows who the hell he is, and he's popped off. But for me, it's like, even though, you know, it's easier to create stuff without record labels nowadays and essentially be your own record label. It's super easy. it's super easy to create your own apparel. Like I can make T-shirts, I can make hoodies, I can make anything. It costs a lot of money. So like, if I was to make, uh, if I was to take my hard-earned money and create apparel or anything like that, like I'm probably not gonna get no more posters. I might get a couple, I doubt it, but you know, I'm thinking like if I was to pop off, like imagine if I was to print out some posters, right? And I think it cost me probably like almost $20 to make a poster, like a custom poster. It cost me like $3 to make some stickers. But if I was to autograph those, and I only autographed like 5, I put like 1 of 5, 1 of 2, 2 of 5, 3 of 5, and somehow those survived, or any of them survived, and in the future I was to pop off, people were like, in the future, they like, nobody likes my shit right now. Nobody really, not nobody watches my videos, but not a lot of people watch my videos. If in the future, if I'm not taking off platform, if I'm still preserved, it is possible for all my creations right now to be popular in the future when I'm like passed on or whatever. And if anything like that, and I was to sign it, and I was to pop off and be really popular in the future, it's like one of these philosophers, or like a artist, like a Michelangelo, you know, that I'm not comparing myself, and this could happen to anybody right now. You know, it is good to create because you never know what the future is gonna hold. You never know who's gonna watch your stuff in the future. Nobody might not watch your stuff right now. Nobody really cares about me right now. Maybe nobody really cares about you right now. Nobody really watches it because like we have so much content right now. But what happens if like people stop making content? What happens if people don't want to compete with AI no more? AI just makes everything, and then humans just kind of like just stop making content. And then in the future, humans are kind of like, yeah, AI is cool, but like we want authentic human content, and they start going back in the past, just like how they are with music. Look at Gen Z right now; they're going back, and I'm seeing like I go on TikTok a little bit, and I see like they're getting into new metal. I see my kids, they're into older rock. Older rock to me is like 70s. So older rock right now is like Nirvana. You know what I mean? So older rock is the 2000s, the 10s. You know, like that's older rock now. That would be like classical rock, I guess. So like they're going back in the past because like look at, people aren't making really good stuff right now. Everybody, this is what I said a long time ago, where I think that a lot of people they don't have boredom. So I think that boredom and like time not doing stuff, like you have time to do stuff and be creative, you start creating. People create music, people create script, people write books. Well, people are like always consuming. It's happening more and more. People are just consuming. That you might have less content creators because, for one, they're not going to want to compete with AI because AI is going to dominate really soon on every aspect. But you will have people at some point that are like, they like the human element, and the AI feels like, yeah, it's cool. Like this desk I have is really cheap, and it serves its purpose. But it would be cool to have like a desk that's like made by an Amish person. You know what I mean? Like that would be even cooler. But for right now, this is cool. It's okay for now. But I'm wondering if in the future people are going to be like, yeah, it's cool, like the AI, like you can see the like. But I kind of like their old stuff. Like when somebody you might listen to just generates their videos with AI, and they don't really even make content themselves anymore, like this, like I'm doing right now. Tim Pool talked about this. You might actually start liking the old stuff more, going more into the retro, going more into the past. And I think that people in the future, they might start getting interested into like past stuff, like old stuff. Right now, when you're consuming content, you're not going to really go back. If you watch any of my videos, you're not going to really go back into the past and look at anything I've created in the past. And I'm the same way. I'm all about what's fresh, what's new, what's happening right now. That's what happened with music. Music was like that as well. Like I listened to a little bit of the past, but like when the radio was popping, it's like what's new, what's going on right now. That's the similarity right now with content creation. So you might, it just might be a different field. People might start going into the old content. People might go into some of my old videos and like my old videos more if I start making AI content, because I don't feel like making videos no more. I just think it'll be kind of noticeable. Like, yeah, it'll be probably real, look like I'm like this or whatever, but it'll just be like a different feel. You know, like this, cheap wood on this. This is cheap wood. Well, you know, like something made by the Amish people is like real wood, feels different. It'll just have a different feel to it, I think. Because I think AI will just kind of feel like generic compared to authentic. And I think that people in the future are going to crave authenticity. I don't know how to say that. I think things are going to be so generic and so accessible and abundant because of the robots creating stuff. You know, they're going to be able to create all the stuff that we need, but it's not going to feel like, you know, like when, well, that saying where like your wife or your mom cooked something for you, like when you were a kid or something. It's made with love. That's what I'm saying. Like this is basically made with love. And I think like the AI it'll have the visual, have the sound, but there's gonna be something missing from it. It's gonna have that element of love missing because AI can't represent that. There's just something like it can copy me, it can copy my expressions and make me look, but there's just gonna be that feel to it, I think. And I think that people are gonna be more. I know it's weird because, you know, we're transitioning into like digital reality, but I think people who are immersed in the digital reality in the future will be very sensitive and be able to decipher from like AI to some like authentic. And you know, like it's kind of like when people like records or whatever, and it sounds the exact. Basically, to me, it sounds the exact same. If I was to put on a record, or I was to put on Spotify, like it sounds the same, but it might not be like the aesthetics. It might just be like the knowing like this was really created. You know, it's hard for me to explain, but I think that anyone watching this who's made it this far, you can understand what I'm talking about. I know it sounds weird, but if your wife or your mom was to make you food, or your husband, whatever, it's a little bit different than going and having it bought for you. Sure, it tastes good or bought or whatever, but like, if you really appreciate that, you appreciate that that person spent their time and energy to make it for you. But maybe people just aren't in depth right now like that, and understanding what that means. Because a lot of people are basically on autopilot. So that's it.